So we're going to be looking at these questions. What is 35% of 640? This equation is going to be our best friend for this section. We have the whole in this case. What is 35% of 640? So the whole is 640, and we want to look at really carefully how these are set up because it's very easy to get the part and the whole confused at time. So make sure you use one of these as an example, as a guide to go through and solve the rest of them. Have them written down right in front of you. Now we're going to cross multiply, so we're going to have 100 times p equals 35 times 640. That's going to give us 100p equals 22,400. And then we're going to divide both sides by 100 to get p by itself, and that is going to give us 224, which makes sense. We want 35% of 640 garments, so the number of garments needs to be less than 640 in this case. 35 patients is 50% of what number of patients? Well, in this case, we're looking for the whole. 35% is part of something, so we're going to have 35 over the W. We don't know what W is. We don't know what the whole is. And we have 50% over 100. So now we're going to cross multiply. So 35 times 100 equals 50 times W. And that's going to give us 3,500 equals 50W. Then we would divide both sides by 50. And that was going to give us W equals 70. And that makes sense because 35 patients is 50% of 70. That makes sense. The last one here on the top right is 180 tuxedos is what percent of 300 tuxedos? Well, in this case, read it kind of carefully because sometimes you could have the part can be sometimes larger than the whole, but in this case it's not. If we had said, hey, 18 eggs is how many of a dozen, you would say, oh, it ends up being 150%. So you can have a larger number for the part. For this one, 180 is the part, so we're going to have 180 over 300, and I'm going to use x for the percent instead of the symbol, so we don't get kind of confused there. So equals x over 100, and then we're going to cross multiply and divide. So 180 times 100 is 18,000, and that's going to equal 300x. And then we're going to divide both sides by 300. This time I'll just use the obelisk symbol there. And we're going to x being 60%, and that does make sense. That 180 is 60% of 300. The next one, how many tablets is 130% of 300? Notice how it looks the same as the one above in terms of the wording of it. So we're just going to copy that kind of format, and that's what I mean. If you're never sure, look at an example that's already been done for us. So in this case, we have the p over the 300, which is the whole, is going to equal the percent, which is 130 over 100. Now we're going to cross multiply. So p times 100 is going to equal 130 times 300. 100 times p is 100p. And 130 times 300 is 39,000. Then we're going to divide both sides by 100. Let's choose the fraction this time, which has the same impact as just taking off the last two zeros. And we are left with p equals 390. In this case, it does make sense that 390 is more than 300, but because we have 130% there, which is bigger than 1. The next one is 10 circuits is 25% of what number of circuits? This is the same type of setup as the one above it. So we're looking for the whole. So we're going to have 10 over the W equals 25 over 100. And then we're going to, again, no surprise, cross multiply and divide. So 10 times 100 equals 25 times W. So we have 1,000 equals 25W. Divide both sides by 25. And we end up with W equaling the whole being 40, which makes sense. This last one, I might have a basic type of graph here. Pie graph, circle graph. A music store sells 3,000 recordings in a month. How many are country? So we want to know how many are country. We're looking for the part. And in this case, we have the percent, which is for country, it's 9%. So we're going to look up the part. We're looking for how many. So P over 3,000 equals 9 over 100. Now we're going to cross multiply. P times 100 equals 9 times 3,000. 9 times 3,000, 27,000. We divide by 100, and then we get 274 answer. So 270 country recordings. If you have any questions, ask your math teacher.